you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at MID and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at MID and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at MID and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at MID and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at MID and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at MID and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by...
Okay, good morning, welcome to our manufacturing morning. I mean, what better way to start your day than a conversation about manufacturing? I'm Chris Pellerito, Mid-Michigan College. Folks ask me where the heck is Mid-Michigan College. Many are familiar, but if you're not, I'm inclined to say, well, it's right here, of course, but just so you're clear, we have a campus, a vibrant campus down in Mount Pleasant, about 5 miles from CMU. Additionally, we're here on our Harrison campus. Harrison is about half an hour north of Mount Pleasant, and it's got its quaint rustic charm. I have some remarkable folks at the table. I have superheroes here in the manufacturing world. We'll get to that in a moment, but I want to be sure you're clear. A couple of quick things. There are opportunities in college to head towards manufacturing. There are opportunities that don't require college. We're going to touch on some of that stuff. Okay, but this is not an infomercial for Mid-Michigan College necessarily. Rather, it's one of those, hey, yo, opportunity is knocking. Let's open the door and see what that's about. Fair enough? Okay, good morning. We've got some guests here in Harrison with us, and then we've got some guests on the other side of the camera. Thank you for being part of this. Okay, I have with me Dawn, Mike, and John. But it occurred to me this morning, a couple of things. I looked through their bios and they're remarkable, and you're going to hear about that part. But additionally, I considered this morning, you know, my gosh, what's not processed? What's not what doesn't go through the manufacturing process? And I tried to think of things like, well, that apple. No, technically that apple was bagged, counted and bagged and sealed and shipped. And so there's a bit of a manufacturing process there. Well, hey, what about Noah's tennis shoes? No, absolutely, those were processed in some way, manufactured. The chairs we're sitting in, the pen in front of me, the glasses in front of me, this cup, yes, it was all manufactured. So, hey, wait, let's think about this further. Okay, what does that mean? I've always heard, how many of you have heard, well, manufacturing's going away? Have you heard that? There you go, one hand goes up. The other 42 hands that are thinking yes, just don't want to stick their hands up. Okay, I've heard that manufacturing's going away 100 times. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and particularly, it's going away in Michigan. All the Michigan manufacturing type career paths, they're all going to Mexico, or they're all going to Canada, or they're going away. And I'm not knocking Mexico and Canada, they're lovely partners of ours. But I was shocked to find out as I did a little bit of research for this conversation, you know who is number 2 in the world for manufacturing? The United States. I didn't know that. Do you believe that manufacturing is shrinking in the United States because it's cheaper elsewhere? It's not shrinking in the United States. As a matter of fact, it's grown. The number of manufacturing businesses has grown by 3.8% annually. Holy schmoly. I was mistaken. That happens a lot. U.S. manufacturing is responsible for nearly what percentage of all U.S. exports? Everything that is exported, that we ship out into the world. What percentage? Almost half. Okay, almost half of what's produced and manufactured, or almost half of what is shipped out from us is manufactured here. Manufacturing has their hand in it. Okay? All right. Here we go. We're going to get to our guests and we're going to have some conversation with them. Contrary to what you might be thinking right now, I'm not going to do all the talking. All right? Okay. As I looked at this, and like I said, I considered what this is all about. I looked at your bios. You had the opportunity to see bios. Your teachers know the bios of these folks. But I thought, oh my gosh, there's one remarkable thing in common. Each of you have worn many hats over the course of your careers. Each of you, or none of you, started like right at the top because of your super duper college degree or anything like that. So, briefly, why don't you share with us a little bit about your origin story? You know, if you're a comic book superhero, they all have a cool origin story. What's yours? Tell us what led you to where you are today. Mike, may we start with you in the end?
Yeah, so I started 13 years ago, and I was starting a family, had a young child, needed a job. I had done the college thing. I started football at Elma, and then I transferred to SVSU, did the teaching program, realized I didn't like kids as much as I thought I did. So then I kind of just went into the workforce, right? And I think I kind of got into manufacturing that way. We were in Beaverton, and there were a lot of manufacturing jobs to be had. So starting a new family, it kind of worked out. My wife was a teacher in Beaverton. She worked first shift, so I found a job working third shift. And we just did the flip-flop thing. When she was asleep, I was at work, and then when I was asleep, she was at work. So we kind of had the same time together. So I think the schedule in the very beginning worked out for me, and like I said, it was a job, it was a place to work, it had benefits. So that's kind of what got me into manufacturing in the first place.
So you didn't go right to college and say, I want manufacturing. And we have a joke around here about no one goes into college and says, I want to work in admissions. You didn't go right to college saying, I want manufacturing. I know what I want and I know what I need.
I did not. Nope, that was not the plan. I didn't finish college when I went to be a teacher. I was like, I don't want to teach. And then I kind of took some time to decide what I wanted to do, and I went out and I worked, and I found a couple of jobs that made pretty good money, but I had to travel a lot. So when you start a new family and you have a baby, you don't want to travel anymore. So you want to be closer to home, you want to have the hours you want, and that's kind of how I got into manufacturing. And then what led me to this point, right, in applications in the engineering department is I was on the floor night after night and doing the same thing. And a lot of people, that's great, right? But I'm too restless for that. So in the back of my mind, I'm always kind of working out a plan, like, how do I go to the next place from here? So I started taking classes with Eric Sanders through mid in the CAD program, and I would work night shift 10 to 7:30, and then I would either have class in the morning or the afternoon, depending Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I would sleep opposite of that. So if I had class in the afternoon, I'd sleep in the morning. If I had class in the morning, I'd sleep in the afternoon, and then I'd have some time with my family, and then I'd go to work, and I'd do it all over again for months and months and months, which turned into a couple of years. And then when I got my degree, my associate, when I finished my internship for CAD, I did my internship with Seiko Bain. There were a couple of paths available for me, and I could stay on the floor and do the management thing, or I could move into the engineering group and kind of go work with CAD. So I chose to go work on the carpet, as they say in Seiko Bain, and I went the engineering route. So that's kind of what led me to where I am today.
So very briefly, two quick things. Very briefly, what's Seiko Bain? I know what it is, but just for our audience, what's Seiko Bain?
Yep. So it's a really big company we have in our area. A lot of people didn't know it was there until we got frontage right on the main road. But we do pharmaceutical grade tubing. So we'll extrude silicone tubing like hoses, think like a garden hose. So we'll do that, but they go into making drugs. So they're all very clean. We do assemblies, we do molding, so we'll mold tubing. We'll take the tubing and then it's taking a bunch of parts and putting the tubing together to take liquid through processes to make drugs.
Seiko Bain is a worldwide company.
Yep.
Okay. Not just, I mean, it's interesting to me. Beaverton, but a worldwide company.
Yes.
Okay. The other thing, I said there were two things. The other thing that jumped out at me, even though you shifted gears in the middle of going to college and essentially you're a successful college dropout, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I have a son like that too. But what did resonate for me is I heard you say along the way after that, you did work on a plan. It's not like you just winged it from there.
Right. Yeah, there was always, so in my mind, right, it's always on to bigger and better things. Like that's how I kind of, I go. So in most of my life changes, I was presented with an opportunity that I felt at the time was better than the opportunity that I was in now. So I was in college and I didn't like what I was doing. I got offered a job where I traveled a lot, but I made really good money. So I took it and then I quit going to college. And then I had a family and it didn't make sense anymore. So I found a new job that didn't pay as well, but worked out better in other areas. So I took that. And then I've done the same thing through manufacturing, right? What gets me to the next step up or the next thing that I want or I think I would enjoy, and I work towards that. So there's always a plan ahead of it.
Cool. Okay, John, what's your origin story?
All right, so this is on, but I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and I am an Ohio State fan. Unfortunately, I've had to adapt to the Michiganders up here, made Michigan my home. So for me, I started off in finance. I went to school at Kent State, started off within finance, worked my way through different roles within manufacturing. So I started off in finance, I moved to HR, I've done IT, I've done supply chain, I've currently more involved in the operations of the business right now. So for me, I've had the opportunity to work for big companies, multi-billion-dollar companies. I've had the opportunities to work for small mom and pop shops, startups, and for me, I've had the opportunity to, through my jobs that I've held, to travel to 5 different continents. So those have opened up a lot of opportunities for me, not just within the business world, but also to understand different cultures throughout the world, which has really helped me prosper. It's helped my family, and for me, I'm very grateful for that. So what brought me up to Midland, Michigan is back in 2001, there was an opportunity for me to join a synthetic lubricant company. I worked for Lubrizol. They made an acquisition. They needed someone to come up to Midland, Michigan and help with the finances. Over time, I got acclimated with HR, took on more hats, and for me, it was very rewarding for me because I had to take a chance. We don't have any family up here in Midland, Michigan. All my family's down in Cleveland. you know, but if you're willing to take that chance and be willing to change, I think there's a lot of opportunity within manufacturing. And for me, it's been very good to me, so.
It's interesting you say that. I just had this conversation again yesterday, speaking with a student who described her passion and this is what she wants to do, and I looked her in the eye and said, are you willing to move more than an hour from fill in the blank, Claire, Beaverton, Gladwin, etc.? Are you willing to move more than an hour to get that? And she looked me right back in the eye and said, yeah, I'm willing to move because this is what I want to do. It's not easy, but that's what it takes, right?
Yeah, for us and my family, we wanted to stay within like a 4.5 radius of Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I grew up, that's where my family is. But in order to move it up in some companies and to, you know, take on those opportunities, you got to be willing to change. And for me, we were willing to change, and it was the best for us. So it was nice for me because I could have my wife stay at home and watch the kids while I was off at work.
So you're the director of manufacturing and operations. Is that largely basically because of your experience? You've worn all those other hats. So they said, John knows how the whole thing works, so he can run it.
Yes, that's a lot of it. It's making sure you keep learning, you know. So, you know, starting off in finance, you know, for me back in the day, I had to make a big change because once we did this acquisition, it was either do the acquisition or move to SAP. It's an ERP system. We couldn't do both, so we decided to do the acquisition. It was very good for the company at the time, but in the back of my mind, I knew that once we moved to this new ERP system, it would limit what my role was within a manufacturing environment because with a multi-billion-dollar company, those functions can be moved somewhere else. So all the accounting and accounts payable, the receivables, the cash management all moved down to Cleveland, and guess what? I was without basically that role of being the CFO, so I had to make some change and understand the operation. So I got more involved in supply chain. And that's what's nice about manufacturing is you're just not limited to being siloed into one area. If you're willing to learn and make a change, there's lots of opportunity within manufacturing, not just finance or accounting or even supply chain, but I really gravitated towards operations because I saw that my future at the plant level was diminishing and I needed to make some change at that point.
Gotcha. May I see your mic? This is powerful stuff that you're sharing. I want everybody to hear it. Thus is live production here. Okay, last but not least, Dawn, tell us your origin story.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Good morning. My story is a little different. I've been at the same company for my whole career, 31 years. I started as a CAD operator and then moved my way up. I did do 1 year of college before that in architecture, which gave me some CAD experience that got me in the door at Case Systems. Case Systems is a cabinet manufacturer with casework for hospitals and education. So some of the stuff you see in classrooms is like what we build in manufacturing.
How big is Case Systems?
I'll say 40 million in sales.
40 million?
Yeah, 40 million in sales and probably 180 to 200 employees.
Okay, sorry, please continue.
So I started as a CAD operator. I later, I went from there, I did some configuration with our product. I then went back to college in my 40s, got my degree, and moved into IT. And in IT, I went from manager to director. And now I'm focusing a lot on the AI and how to implement and educate and just get it working in our day-to-day processes.
Wow, okay. I hadn't even considered AI's role in all of this, and I have a number of questions that I look forward to asking, but that's not one of them. But we should somehow I feel like we should get back to that part of this. Okay, I like to lead with this question, and I'm going to throw it back to Mike, but feel free to jump in, any and all of you. Mike seems like he can handle the lead off, regardless of the question, but here we go. Why? Why would I head into a manufacturing career? Give me a reason. This is a bright group here. Behind the camera, that's a bright group of students as well. the fact that you're you're studying this type of stuff, we know you're bright students. Meaning you'll have lots of options even if you don't realize it.
So I think it really depends on your motivation personally, right? Like, I know a lot of people in my company like to make products that help people worldwide, right? Like, we made things that work with vaccines, we're working on cancer treatments, so various things depending on your role. I know a lot of people enjoy that about manufacturing, but some people, right, don't have another option. I think this is a great place to start. That's where I was. I didn't have an option, I needed a job, and I started here. But then I think a lot of people find there's a vast amount of opportunity once you get in the door. So if you are one of those kids that doesn't know what you want to do, you don't have that passion, that drive, then I think this is a great place to start. If for nothing else, right, it gives you a stepping stone into the next thing that shows you're accountable, and I think manufacturing is a great way to get to anywhere, really.
Want to add anything to that? I would agree too with, if you're not satisfied in one career direction, there's other opportunities within manufacturing that you can redirect and find other opportunities, you know. I will say that within this ever-changing market, automation is huge right now. So I would say probably 20 years ago, it was really good to get into a skilled trade, which it's still good to get into a skilled trade. My son's a skilled welder. He went to Fair State University. But as we move towards automation, some of that skilled trade changes. So from being hands-on as far as welding, now they're behind the scenes programming the cobot and the robot. So as the technology changes, so do some of those opportunities for individuals. So I think that's where manufacturing has really stepped it up. As far as AI is a big buzzword these days, as well as automation. So even though you understand the basics, there's a lot of opportunity to grow. I would add one more thing as far as, for me, why manufacturing is, the US is a small footprint, but there's a much bigger footprint out there, and it's the global footprint. And for me, it's really opened up a lot of not just what the customer needs are in the US, but what the global customer needs are as well. So for us, is, you know, we like to understand what our customer needs are and satisfy and overachieve for our customers, but really understanding what those customer needs are is the basics. So, you know, in manufacturing, you can understand what those needs are and adapt to your customers' needs.
I think they covered it.
Yeah, it was thorough, but it led me to about 3 more questions. John, if a system is automated, how do I know it'll work well with me? How do I know it'll work well with humans?
So a lot of that is understanding what the technology is first. So, you know, as far as welding goes, we needed to understand what options are out there. So there's the full-blown robots out there, which, you know, there's a lot of programming involved. There's something now called the cobot, which it's a lot of hands-on, you know, introducing the human with the cobot. It's not all 100% programming. So I guess part of it is really understanding what technology is out there and going out there and not being afraid to try new technology. I think that's a lot of companies' challenge, is to not be afraid, to take that next step. And in order to do that, you've got to take risk. Now there's educated risk in that too. So you've got to make sure you're taking an educated risk and really doing your homework on what's out there as far as technology.
What's an educated risk? Give me an example.
All right, so educated risk is, yeah, so there's different technologies out there, you know, there's different, you know, right now we're looking at implementing a press brake. So we needed to understand, you know, what press brakes are out there, what companies are making press brakes, you know, how interactive they are with the employee. So we actually took a step back and wanted to understand what an ROI is, a return on investment. If we're going to spend $200,000 on equipment, we need to understand, you know, what we're going to get in return. You know, it's a huge investment. So one is we needed to make sure that we improved our efficiency, we improved our quality, you know, all of these things go together. So as far as us, it was an educated risk, making sure we do our homework and we're investing in the right area. Because if we're not investing in press brakes, we're investing in cobots.
Cobots. How many of you knew that before you came in here this morning? You knew cobots, that's where the world is heading.
So So we had one of those in Saint-Gobain, and they're actually pretty cool because they have torque sensors inside of the arm. So they're meant to be used right beside a human being. So most of the time on robotics, you're behind a giant cage and everything's safety guarded, and you basically watch it run and program it. These are meant to go on top of a table and to run right next to an operator, and the torque sensor senses, like, if the arm moves the wrong way and hits somebody, like, it will just stop. So they have actual, like, torque sensors inside. So it mitigates the risk of working next to a human, because we had one, and that was one of the stipulations, right? Like, we don't have the guarding, we don't have the space, because clean room space is very expensive. So you had to get this arm that attached to a table and did whatever job you wanted it to do, but it could do it right next to a person. So that's kind of where a lot of the new stuff's going.
Yeah. Cobot. I'm going to use that in, I'm going to chat with people and bring up cobots, just see how impressed they are. So you're hearing this? I'm hearing this, where there's about, 100 paths within manufacturing. It's not like I have to be a computer programmer if I want to go into manufacturing. And it's also not like I have to, I've got to be willing to work on the line if I want to go into manufacturing. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, how broad is the career paths involved with manufacturing?
I do want to make a point as far as the cobot. We took someone who didn't understand welding, didn't understand cobots, but had to drive to learn. So he is very valuable to us, where he's actually programming the cobot to do the welding for us, and he just stepped out of his comfort zone. So I think it's a big willingness just to step out of your comfort zone and learn something new. And it wasn't hard, it was something that he actually has a seat at the table for us now. We go to him, who was just someone that was basically, I don't want to say just pushing the broom, but he wasn't a welder, he wasn't a programmer, but he had that willingness to learn, and now he's a valuable asset for our company.
I'll bet. So Dawn, I usually kind of save this more towards the end, but time's flying already. If they were going to walk away and you had 100 seconds left to share with them, or 2 minutes or whatever, what's the one thing anybody here should know if they were considering anything related to the manufacturing field? What's the one thing they should know? Or one of the one things.
I say it's really important to be a team player in understanding the up and the downstream and all the processes around you, and how you all work together to get the product out the door and to the customer and make the customer happy. It's really important to work together. I think it makes things smoother, everything runs, just flows so much better.
You look like you want to add something there.
So I call it the yin and the yang within manufacturing, and that's the efficiency versus quality. So one thing that is important within our industry is the communication amongst different departments. Production is they want to get as many cabinets out, but at the same time, our customers want a good quality product. So communication across different departments is a very important attribute, within, manufacturing.
Okay. This is interesting what you just touched on too, because I teach here sometimes. I teach comm, as a matter of fact, and we talk about often, why is comm a course that every degree at mid requires? Whether you want a welding degree, you want a CAD degree, regardless, you have to have comm. And one of the first things we talk about day one is why? Why is that? But I'm hearing you say it. I need to be able to communicate, no matter how bright I am here, right? No matter how well I work with a cobot or how super functioning my team is, right?
When you're not functioning, things start to get breakdown, and things start to go the wrong way.
Do you see that breakdown coming? Like, this isn't going to be good? Or sometimes it happens and it's like, okay, we need to correct?
A lot of times we get caught up in the silo of our job.
Yes.
And instead of sharing information like we should, we don't think about everything else that's happening around us, because we're so focused on doing the job that we do day to day. So.
Does that sound a little familiar? The college has that go on too.
Yeah. So, yeah, communication is huge.
Makes sense.
So like a real life example. So our parts come from a customer. Our customer goes to a salesman with an idea. So you have sales, right? And then sales takes that to engineering or tech services. They come up with an idea with the customer, and then it goes to applications. We do like a rough draft. Then it goes to the customer to get signed. And then it comes back to us and then goes through an NPI process, like a new product introduction. And these are all individual teams, right? And this is all ahead of the game. So after it goes through NPI, then it goes through part build. So part build will then trial the parts and make sure they're producible. And there's checks and balances in every single one of these spots. So you work by yourself in your group, but also you have to communicate with all the groups. So then after part build, then it'll go to manufacturing. Then after manufacturing, it'll quality. And then after quality, it'll go to shipping, right? So there's all of these things that work together that you have to be able to communicate on a daily basis. At the same time, like Dawn said, right? Like you also kind of get tunnel vision when you're working on a project, and then you have to get pulled out of that when somebody asks, hey, what about this that you worked on a week ago? And you're like, oh yeah, that's in this other department. I have to go talk to them about this. So yeah, communication is huge.
Makes sense. Okay. Mike, I want to stay with you for a minute, but I want you two to answer this as well. Keep this, make it brief. It can be one word. I'm going to stick with the superhero thing. Batman had a utility belt. It was always intriguing to me. You know, you like, here you go. I've got a thermos right here. Oh wait, hold on. Let me get the machete right here. Mike, you can equip the next 100 employees at St. Cobain with one thing on their utility belt. What would it be?
So yeah, that's a hard one, right? You want five, but I think if you had one, right, it'd be creativity. Like in our jobs, creativity is huge. Nobody knows who's going to come up with the next widget in our industry that we're going to patent and make gazillion dollars on for the next 5 years till that patent runs out or whatever. So you always have to think outside the box. And I think creativity in my department specifically is huge.
I guess for me, it would be adaptability and willingness to change.
Don just said he stole my answer.
Yeah.
I think we see so many times that our customers' needs change and we're stuck just trying to force fit what we currently have based on our current capabilities. So I think within manufacturing, adaptability to change is a big one.
I agree. Being flexible and being able to adapt, and I guess also maybe being able to be a problem solver or offer up solutions to or ideas when something's not going the way we expected it to.
Yeah, that's super valuable. Valuable to any team.
And the thing about that is, right, it depends on the department you're in. Like I'm in applications and we're always coming up with new things, so you want people that are creative. But I mean, on the floor, you want dependability, right? Or maybe in management, you want leadership. So, I that's one of the things with many hats is I think a lot of people are looking for a lot of different things. I think you can fall into any of those categories depending on where you fit. And that's why it's hard to narrow it down to one, right? When you're thinking manufacturing as a whole, what do we need? Kind of depends on what department you're in, where you're at, or what you're looking for, really.
Okay. You just kind of touched, sometimes I just get into this and I forget the microphone part. You touched on something that I want to run back to. I'm intrigued by intellectual property protection. It's like, dang, that's a really good idea. And I can't believe nobody else came up with that sooner. But then there's like, besides 100 companies in the United States, there's 1,000 more companies around the world that want to steal that idea too. How important is that, and how do you even go about doing intellectual property protection?
Corporate lawyers. So, I mean, if you come up with something that is actually different, it gets patented and then the patent runs out. There are extensions, we've ran into that a couple times, right? And patents run out, and then I think a lot of it is you have to lean on your dependability, your quality, and your on time to the customer, right? Like that, your deliverables are a big deal. But if you can meet those things, so maybe I create the same thing 5 other companies create, and I'm a little more expensive, but I do it cleaner, I do it better, I do it with a good on time to promise, then I think that's what's really going to keep business rolling.
You mentioned at the beginning, as far as manufacturing jobs increasing in the US, and a lot of it, I think, is because companies probably 20 years ago were really focused on the lowest cost. You know, they're trying to offshore everything to China.
Yeah.
Once you move things to China, that's where your intellectual property goes away, okay? So their main focus in China is to provide jobs to their, you know, citizens.
Sure.
They do not have any kind of intellectual property security. You know, I worked for a synthetic lubricant company, and we had a hard time with our products being copied over in China. Now, the nice thing about being US made is the quality that we make over here. So they valued our US made in the USA brand over made in China because of that, because they knew it was a better product, we had better quality. So yes, I think as far as intellectual property, you need to protect it.
Why do patents have a time limit?
As far as the inventor goes, it gives them time to get their business established. So it's, you know, as far as the protection goes, you know, it prevents other competitors from coming in and gobbling up the market if you're just a mom and pop shop. So patents are very important.
But then at the same time, right, once you're established and you created it, I think it runs out so it doesn't create like a monopoly, right? You're not the only one that can produce that one thing forever. So there is a time limit. So eventually there will be competition and you better do it better than everybody else. So I think that's kind of why there's a beginning and there's that time in the middle for you to get it taken care of and to do the best you can, and then there's an end where you're going to have competition keep doing better than they're doing.
Okay. Whenever I do this, and we have a series of roundtables, whenever I do this, of course, I tell my wife, oh, you should see who I get to speak with today. And usually she doesn't care. No, she cares. You know, because we have these roundtable series, and like we've done one with criminal justice, we've done one with education, etc. When I referenced you three, she said, what? No, she didn't. When I referenced you three, she thought it was cool. I didn't know cobots, but I'm going to tell her when I get home. But I always ask her, what should I ask them? What do I want to find out from them? What does this audience need to know? And she always has the same question for me to ask them, because I love her, but she's a realist. So here's my question for you. What's the worst part of the job in manufacturing? And she always says, and don't let them sugarcoat it. Mike, what's the worst part about a career in manufacturing? And if there isn't, that's okay.
So that in my, like, depends on where you start, right? Like, I started on the floor. The worst job for me on the floor was I knew exactly what I was going to do when I punched in, and I knew exactly what I was going to do for 8 hours until I punched out. And for some people, they've done it for 30 years and they love it, right? Like, that's just, they come in, they tune out, they do their thing, they go home, they have a great time. For me personally, I did not enjoy that part of the job. Fast forward to where I'm at now, right? Now I think that change is a thing that I struggle with sometimes because customers always want new things. We always have new processes. There's always like the next software. So I've learned over the years to enjoy it a little more because sometimes it works out great. But I think a lot of the times, every time a change comes up, you're like, not again, right? Like they're gonna have to redo my whole computer. I'm gonna be down. Like you get into that. I don't want to do this. So in my current job, I think adapting to change is something you need to be very comfortable with. And if you're not, you're gonna have a lot of heartburn. And that's one of the parts that I don't like is change.
Okay. I want you to share, but I must ask you. Because I have no idea. I have zero street cred in manufacturing. What was your day like when you were on the floor? And you just said, and I know it to be true, there are some that come in and do it 30 years and love it. They like what? The consistency? What was your day like?
So I started out in milling. We'll take milling for example. We take it's silicone, so it comes in like bricks of silicone. You bring it in from the floor, and we take these bricks and we weigh them out like a baker. So inside of this batch of silicone that I'm making that's going to be extruded, I know I need this many parts of A, rubber, it's silicone, this many parts of A silicone, this many parts of B silicone, and then I'll use a catalyst to make that all cure, and then I'll send it to my operator. So my whole day was going out and getting material, bringing material in, weighing material on an industrial scale, putting it inside of 2 metal rollers, it's called a mill, and you would mix it all together and you would just cross mill it, and then you'd sheet it out. And then you'd take these sheets over to an extruder operator, and they would cut it into strips, and they'd feed the machine, and then it would make tubing. So from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, I was either weighing out tubing, I was keeping track of my batch records, I was writing down what serial numbers I was using for credibility and accountability, but like, that was it from the time I got there to the time I left. Occasionally we'd change jobs and we'd go into new material and I'd clean the mill, right? So like, that was the one break if I had to clean the mill, and then we'd get started making more rubber silicone. But I mean, rubber in your head probably makes more sense, but yeah, we'd get ready making new silicone. So in a nutshell, when I first started, that was the day-to-day.
And again, some folks like the consistency.
Oh.
They like just, I know what I've got. I'm gonna
Yep.
go in and do my job. It's somewhat, whatever. I can be comfortable because I'm good at it, and then I'm done at 5 or done at whatever.
And so when I went to manufacturing engineering before I went to applications, a big thing I knew coming from the floor was exactly who to talk to when they had a problem, right? Because those people that have done it for 30 years know the machines, they know the processes, they know everything inside and out, and they can do it literally without even thinking about it. And like, that's what they love, and I would take information from them because you have those people everywhere. So it just depends on what kind of personality you have.
John, what's the worst part about?
If you don't want me to sugarcoat it, it's finding dependable employees that have the drive to show up to work every day. If you have the willingness to learn, you can go far within any organization. But you gotta have that drive at the beginning and take pride in what you do.
Can you repeat that, please? Only because I think this battery's going, and I don't want them to miss that. Please repeat that one.
Yeah, this one sounds different. So, as far as having individuals with the drive to show up every day to work and the passion to learn. I mean, if you have that passion to learn, you can do a lot within manufacturing, but you gotta have that drive.
It's funny you said the challenge is finding people who want to show up and do the job. Want to show up and do the job, which is probably the answer for, likely the answer for anybody that runs any business. Dawn, what's the worst part about manufacturing?
On the production floor, I'm gonna say the work is hard. Those guys work so hard out there. Our wood shop, the boards are heavy, it's just hard work, and on our metal shop side, it's the same thing. In the office and even on the production floor too, I think some days I feel like I'm just putting fire out after fire out after fire out because things don't go as we thought they would, as planned, and so I'd say that's probably the worst part.
But you have a wood shop and you have a metal shop.
Yes, we will.
Cool, very cool. And you have, I heard you say those guys work hard. You have gals involved with
Oh,
manufacturing.
absolutely.
Okay.
I didn't mean guys as in.
Okay.
literally.
Yeah.
Just
We
making
have-
sure,
yes.
making sure because
Yeah.
just a super quick look, a third of our audience here are wonderful young ladies.
Yeah, we have a very diverse group of employees at Key Systems in Boston Tech.
Okay. We're winding up, we're heading, like, rounding the final turn here. Briefly, and this is maybe the most relevant question for this audience and the audience behind the camera. Where do you see manufacturing heading in the next 10 years? Besides cobots.
I'll go first. I think automation is going to be huge, and along with AI being on top of it, we're going to see more of that. I don't believe that it's going to replace jobs. I think the jobs are still going to be there, so I want to be very, this is my opinion. For the next 10 years, I think things will be similar, but you're going to see more automation and more implementation of AI into everything.
I mentioned it earlier. I think the direction as far as the global market, a lot of it is coming back to reshoring things, not producing offshore in China, Mexico, Canada. We're trying to protect those jobs in the U.S., especially in manufacturing. I think we have the capacity, and I think that's the direction we're going on top of automation. I'm seeing a lot of automation right now within the manufacturing environment.
Yeah, I would echo that too. In the next 10 years, I think manufacturing is going to grow. I mean, I don't think that 3.8 is an unrealistic number every year for the next 10 years, especially with, everybody knows our current office, right? Everybody wants to make it in the U.S. So I think there's going to be a boom in the next 4. And then as long as people capitalize in that 4 years, I think that it's just going to grow from there. So yeah, I definitely think that there's going to be growth in the next 10.
Okay. We have roughly 90 high school juniors and seniors here. We have, ultimately, we would potentially have another 200 high school juniors and seniors on the other end of the camera. Each of whom in some way, shape, or form has said, I think I might want to do something involved with CAD or manufacturing of some sort. Final words, what do you want to share with them? You've got 100 seconds before they part and you part. What would you leave them with?
So I think if anybody wants to do anything with CAD, I encourage it. Noah and I talked about this earlier. The possibilities in CAD are endless. You can go anywhere, you can do anything, you can work for any company globally. I mean, you can start your own shop. If you want to do CAD, I would say your first steps are to start looking at MID, because Eric Sanders here has a very impressive CAD program, and I would definitely pursue that for sure.
Have a plan B. If your plan A is to try going to college, it's not for everyone. I made sure my son had a plan B. He learned how to weld in high school. He tried Ferris State within their welding program, graduated, but I wanted him to have a plan B. Find something that, if plan A doesn't work out, make sure you have something to fall back on.
I agree. College may be the direction you want to go. You may want a 2-year degree, or you may want to go into a trade. Any of those are viable options. The CAD program here is amazing, as Mike said. We use both SolidWorks, AutoCAD, and we are also using Revit. So all of that is good stuff.
Cool. Very good stuff. Okay, so not everybody in here is the biggest, or the strongest, or the fastest, or the smartest. Okay, somebody in here is the smartest in the room. Likely they're sitting at this table, or maybe my colleague Beth over here. And that's okay. But everybody has a superpower. I do believe that 100%. My superpower, I figured it out a long time ago because I wanted to be the starting quarterback. Wasn't going to happen. Hold the clipboard, Chris. Okay, fine, got it. My superpower, asking questions. Figure out what your superpower is and keep building on that. Okay? You heard some really cool stuff, some good, parts that you can apply to your plan. There's a bunch of people here that are happy to help. You get some opportunity the rest of the morning to hear some answers to that. But also, gratitude, super powerful. Be grateful. Thank the teachers you got. Thank the folks back at your high schools for doing what they do and helping you along the way. All right, because you couldn't do it without them, no matter what you might be thinking right now. You couldn't do it without them helping you along the way. All right. Noah, our guru behind the camera, thank you. Speaking of gratitude, you rock at what you do. Beth is off the camera over here. Thank you. And thank you. Take care.